I'm Stuart McIntosh with the BBC News. Hello. Large parts of Emilia-Romagna in the northeast of Italy remain on red alert as water levels in some areas continue to rise. At least 9 people have died. Sofia Betizza is in the region.
The mayor of the city of Ravenna said that last night was probably the worst night in the history of the region of Emilia-Romagna, and that his town is unrecognizable because of the damage. Now, several people are missing. Thousands have been evacuated and are taking shelter in gyms and in schools. The mayor of the city of Castel Bolognese, which is near the city of Bologna, said that the situation there at the moment is catastrophic, that there are thousands of people who need to be rescued as soon as possible.
Western officials say Ukraine's army is at an increased state of readiness ahead of a long-awaited counter-offensive against Russia's invasion. The officials said the success of Ukraine's offensive must be measured not only by territorial gains, but how likely it could be to influence President Putin to change his military strategy. James Landale reports from Kiev.
Slowly but surely, Ukraine's getting ready to launch a huge assault on Russia's invading forces. Western officials said its army was at an increased state of readiness, with core capabilities coming together, including the ability to deploy tanks, fighting vehicles, as well as clearing mines, bridging rivers and striking targets at long range. They said, by contrast, Russia's forces were in a parlous state. But their defensive lines were potentially formidable, protected by extensive minefields.
The head of the UN has hailed the latest renewal of the deal that allows the export of Ukrainian grain via the Black Sea as good news for the world. Antonio Guterres was speaking after Russia agreed to a 60-day extension. He said the deal allowed vital supplies to reach some of the world's most vulnerable people. A spokesperson for Prince Harry and his wife Meghan has said the couple were followed by the paparazzi in several cars for over 2 hours in New York. A statement described the incident as a near-catastrophic car chase. From New York, here's Michelle Fleury.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex were travelling with Meghan's mother Doria Ragland when they were pursued by photographers. The incident began after the Women of Vision Awards in Manhattan, where the former actress was being honoured. After getting into an SUV at around 10 p.m, they say they were followed by paparazzi before ending up at a police station. The account led to New York City Mayor Eric Adams calling it reckless and irresponsible for photographers to chase the trio. Later, though, police said that whilst the Sussexes' transport was challenging, no arrests, injuries or collisions were reported.
This is the World News from the BBC. The International Monetary Fund has approved a $3 billion bailout programme for Ghana. The country's been enduring an economic crisis. It's struggled to cope with soaring inflation, debt and the falling value of the local currency. Montana has become the first state in the US to ban the Chinese-owned video sharing app TikTok from operating in the state after the governor signed legislation passed last month. The bill prohibits app stores from offering TikTok to users in the state. Lawmakers are concerned that the Chinese government could use the app for surveillance. The Czech government has repealed communist-era measures that allowed Russia to use buildings in Prague and other cities for free. Rob Cameron reports.
For years, the Czech government has complained the Russian state is subletting what's meant to be diplomatic property allocated to Moscow rent-free in a long-gone era of Cold War cooperation. Now, the Russian Federation will either have to pay rent on 59 apartment complexes and recreational facilities or relinquish them. The Czechs say there's now little justification for Russia to use so much official property.
4 indigenous children have been found alive in the Colombian rainforest more than 2 weeks after the crash of a small plane they were travelling in. Over 100 soldiers had been searching with sniffer dogs after the plane disappeared in dense jungle. Earlier this week, the bodies of the pilot and 2 adults were found. The children are believed to be 13, 9 and 4 years old and an 11-month-old baby. The earliest and most comprehensive Hebrew Bible has fetched more than $38 million at auction. The Codex Sassoon, which dates back to around the year 900, reached one of the highest prices for a manuscript sold at auction. It was bought by a former US diplomat. BBC News.